Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're finally going to start working on my 1985 Pontiac 6000 station wagon project.
A great success!
So some of you saw in the first video I did of this thing. This is my 1985 Pontiac 6000 wagon.
That's pretty neat!
It currently has a carbureted 2.8 that has a window in the block.
Good, great, grand, wonderful!
With a 4-speed automatic trans. It's got some rust down the side, it's green on green, green interior.
How neat is that?
But overall, pretty solid car. And now I have purchased the engine for it, along with the transmission, and a bunch of other parts, because, you know, what's a project without having to be completely refurbished?
I can't do this anymore, man.
So let's take a look at the parts I've purchased. V6. All right, so the biggest part that I have purchased for this car is the engine and trans that's going to go in it. V6, and it's right down here. This is a 3800 Supercharged Series 2 V6 with a 4T65HD automatic transmission. I purchased this engine, the wiring harness, and the computer for $550. It came out of a 97 or 98 Grand Prix GTP that apparently rusted in half.
Allegedly.
Had supposedly 150,000 miles on it.
Allegedly.
And supposedly ran and shifted just fine when it came out of the car.
Allegedly.
Haven't heard it run, so I don't know. It's a mystery. We're gonna figure it out. This engine already has a smaller pulley from ZZ Performance, a throttle body spacer from ZZ Performance, and allegedly a tune.
Allegedly.
It does not have exhaust manifolds.
No.
It also needs a air mass meter and probably to be resealed. It also doesn't have spark plug wires. It's got some cheapy spark plugs in it. So I ordered all that stuff. We have a reseal kit for it. We have cheap China eBay headers for it.
China.
Spark plugs, spark plug wires, gasket kit. We're gonna go through, do like an inspection on the inside of the engine to make sure it's good, reseal it before we put it in the car. I also have new struts for this car, new shocks for this car, and coilover setup that I'm gonna make for the front because basically this is the same setup as the Fiero. So I'm gonna do the same thing in the front of this that I've done on the rear of the Fieros, and we're probably just gonna cut a coil or two off of the rear to make that match ride height.
Deadly.
I am not sure if we're going to do everything in this video, if I'm going to break this up into several videos. Depends on how much time I get to work on it. I think it's finally spring here in Michigan. Today is May 5th. Hasn't snowed in like a week. It was 70 something today. So if we can keep on that trend, I can probably get working on this. I'd like to lie to you and tell you I want to have this done for Hot Rod Power Tour, but I probably won't even have time to go to that.
I'm really busy right now.
Still, you know, gotta set a goal, even if it is a lie, right?
Idiot.
So I think first things first is to figure out whether we're going to work on this car here or we're gonna put it on the lift. That's probably gonna be something I'm gonna think about here tonight. And when I come back, that's when you will see whether we're gonna have it on jack stands here or on the lift. Because I think step one is gonna be to pull the 2.8 out of this and the transmission out of this, because we're not going to use any of that. Well, I'm sure we're going to use some of the wiring because we have to mate the 3800 to the wiring for this car, which I still have to find a schematic for this car, but it'll be great. It's going to be fine. It's going to be easy. So yeah, let me figure that out and then I'll be back with you. Either that or maybe we'll unbox those headers and see what they look like. One or the other. What's that? You guys want to unbox the headers? Yeah, me too. These are off of eBay. They're made with the finest metal you can get from China.
You want to buy from China? That's great. Buy from China.
And it says fragile. Handle with care, which obviously FedEx did a great job with.
No.
Hold on, who shipped it? Yeah, it was FedEx. I mean, the box is still mostly taped together, so that's got to be good, right?
You better watch your ass.
I'm sure the finest steel from China will hold up
China!
to being thrown 30,000 feet off of an aircraft. So that's what this box looks like happened to it. Yeah. see what we got here. God's now.
China.
Honestly, they don't look too bad. Can't see any light around the welds. I guess the real test will be when we go to fit them up for the engine. To find out that they don't fit. There's the rear one. Oxygen sensor bung. This is for the crossover, which is right here. Did I mention I paid like $160 for these shipped on eBay? I'm sure they're gonna be great. Must go in here. No, don't go in there at all. With some persuasion, that will go right in there. And this one must be like this. There. Oh, that one went together. They're supposed to be, you know, something like that. It'd be easier on the engine. I don't know. Calm down. It's got a V-band set up there. This is the downpipe. And I'm sure none of these parts will fit perfectly in a 1985 Pontiac 6000 wagon. But I have a welder and very poor welding skills that says I can probably make it work with minimal leakage, I'm sure. What else do we got in here? Well, we got more pieces and parts. I got that, like where it would hang on the car. That's not a 85 6000 wagon. This must be the test pipe. What? You're bent? How did that happen? Settle. So, yeah, I'm sure we can make all these parts work and leak. Oh, look. They gave us gaskets. I'm sure they're quality. And all the clamps, even. Hey, what a deal for 160 bucks. Need to make sure to leave them a 5-star review. Leave FedEx a 2-star review. Negative 2-star review. Yeah, I think this will work. I'm curious as to how these fit. You know what? I don't have any header bolts. Alright, so this gives you kind of an idea of how this will work. Front manifold, crossover goes around, and it will go into there.
Allegedly.
I've already got a flexi trans dipstick tube, so that'll be cool. But up here we've already have a EGR delete on this, so probably, you know, hack that off there and hack that off there and weld that closed. So yeah, I mean, this should work. 160 bucks, can't go wrong. Well, all right, now that we have that done and out of the way, let's start pulling an engine. That'll be great. It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be fun. All right, let's go. All right, it's the next day. I've given it some thought, and I think the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna do this in multiple videos. And here in this video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this engine and trans out of this car. Next video will be that engine, resealing it, painting things, making it look pretty. The next video will be putting that in here. And then probably the final video will be exhaust, suspension, getting it running, and taking it for a drive. That means we gotta start pulling this engine. And we're gonna do it right here. I'm not gonna use the lift because this is probably gonna take me a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks or more to get this all the way complete. I don't want my lift tied up that long. So we're just gonna unhook everything now up here, and then we'll put it on some jack stands, take the suspension loose so we can pop the axles out of the trans, then we will lift it out the top. I think that's gonna work best. Under here we have to disconnect coolant hoses, trans cooler lines, fuel lines, shift cable, AC lines, throttle cable, and the wiring harness, which the one main wiring harness is up in that corner over there. I think we can unbolt that, and it's just gonna be a matter of finding all the areas the harness snakes to, because there's a couple map sensors in that corner that we can take out. The charcoal canister and stuff's in this corner, so it's just a matter of taking stuff out of here and getting it out as a unit, I guess. I want this thing to have AC with the 3800, so I gotta figure out how I'm gonna make that work too. So let's start taking stuff apart. We don't need to drain the oil because there's a hole in the oil pan from the rod that came loose, so that's a bonus. But we probably should drain the coolant, maybe the trans, power steering. Oh yeah, we gotta unhook the power steering too. So let's start ripping and tearing. well, as you saw, I made some progress. I think I got just about everything on top unplugged. So really all that's left is power steering lines in the back, trans cooler lines up front, lower radiator hose, and then the power cable to the starter and the ground to the block. And then I think that's about everything up here. We got the shift cable, we got the throttle cable, all that stuff loose. So then we can jack it up a little bit, get underneath it, and figure out what to disconnect down there. We got engine mounts, I think. We're gonna have to take the axles out of the trans. I'm sure there's some other stuff that I'm forgetting. With the wiring harness, I was able to unplug it on that side of the engine bay. On this side here, you can see the main harness. It goes through the firewall underneath the blower motor here. So there must be connectors inside under the dash. So I'll have to figure out where those go, unhook them, push it through the firewall that way. And maybe I'll mount the computer inside on that side, I'm not sure. But that's enough for tonight. Been out here a little over an hour, kind of tired, so we'll call it a day. And yeah, maybe tomorrow we'll be back out here and try to get this the rest of the way out. Hey, so I did a thing. The engine's gone. It's actually sitting right there. And the other engine's right there. So now, just gotta clean up this engine bay. This side needs to be pressure washed. This side needs to be sanded. We're gonna sand things, paint it, make it look all pretty. And then we'll stuff the 3800 Supercharged in here. And then we'll have a running and driving car. So I think next we're gonna go through and reseal that engine, make sure everything's good to go, get the engine bay ready to go, and then we'll put the two together. That's gonna do it for now. Thanks for watching this video. If you wanna see more, make sure you subscribe. Maybe you'll see all this on another video. Anyway, see you guys later. V6.